Hey, what's up, guys? Rob here, and today I thought I would talk about one of my favorite horror movies of all time, The Descent. That's right, I love this movie. I love everything about it. The creatures, the music, the characters, the atmosphere. I remember I reviewed this back in like 2018 or something like that. But I wanted to give my thoughts on it now because I just recently watched it, and I still love this film. I love it. It's directed by Neil Marshall, and it's a 2005 British adventure horror film. That's right, adventure. There's a lot of it. Basically, about six women who explore this cave system that's never been explored. There's no map to it, and they end up getting lost, and they're confronted by these humanoid type creatures that live down there. And I think it was very blatant. Like Neil Marshall called them cavemen, uh, basically referring to people who have adapted underground in the dark for thousands of years. They lost their eyesight, but they've developed their hearing and smell. That's how they hunt. That's how they survive. So, really interesting. I love the creativity to this film. A lot of people say, well, there's no good horror films with strong women. Here's one right here. Shauna McDonald stars in this, and she is a badass. Okay, at first she's timid. She's very quiet and just nervous about things because of her tragic past. But then you see her character just it's like she bursts out of her shell. I mean, it's really really awesome. But the filming for this took place in the United Kingdom, mostly also like, the exterior shots or whatever were in Scotland. But, they thought it was going to be too dangerous and time consuming to shoot in an actual cave, which I don't blame them because that would suck. Trying to get all that equipment and all that stuff into a real cave, that would just, yeah. So they had interior scenes or the sets built at Pinewood Studios. And you can see that in the special features here. A lot of the tight spaces that they have to squeeze through is actual sets. It still looks terrifying. Honestly, I don't care if it's a set or not. I still would be terrified. I cannot stand. That's why this movie I think bothered me more is the claustrophobic aspect to it. I do not like tight spaces. That's what she said. I maybe okay. I like some tight spaces, but you get what I mean. I don't like being stuck in like a little crevice or something. And even when it's dark and I can't breathe, I'll have a panic attack. But that's what this movie does. There's another movie kind of like this called The Cave that also deals with creatures, but I think this one was done better. Even though The Cave did have some cool sequences, but it's nothing like this. Um, but yeah, Shauna McDonald, you got Natalie Mendoza, Alex Reed. Um, I love the characters. They're just you know they're very different. They have good chemistry together. Um, what's her name? Yeah, Shauna McDonald. She plays Sarah, who's had a tragic past. Losing her husband and her daughter in a car accident. So she kind of like blames herself on a lot of things, and her best friend Juno, something was going on there with her, and just something going on in the past. But Juno, from the beginning, I found her to be just, I don't know, like she was kind of sketchy. Something about her. She's a leader, but then at the same time, you know, I thought something was up when they go to the actual cave system, and she has the map book, and she throws the map, she like leaves it in the car because she knows that that system is not mapped out yet. But she doesn't tell them until they actually get stuck. Dumb bitch. Honestly, like I'd smack her silly. Anyway, So after the tragic accident, you know, Sarah reunites with Juno and then her other friends like Beth and I think there's like Sam, Rebecca, and Holly. They all meet in this cabin, which is in the Appalachian Mountains of North Carolina. And, the Appalachian Mountains are huge. Who knows what kind of creatures are roaming around there? Who knows? No one knows. It's interesting. So they're going to go explore this cave, all of them, just to celebrate, them getting together. And, when they get down there, something happens where the cave system entrance, or at least one of the entrances, caves in. And so they have no choice but to move forward. Then that's where the girls start freaking out because the cave system is not mapped. And who brought them down there and didn't say anything? Juno, the sketchy bitch. It's all her fault. It was supposed to just be what they call like a proxy cave or whatever. It's just like a tourist cave where you can just explore something easy. Nope, this has never been explored before. They have no idea what's going on or where to go. So they have to take their chances and move forward because they can't go backward. Well, suddenly they run into these creatures. And oh man, what happens to that girl Holly? Holly, she falls down this hole. She does something bad to her leg where her bone's sticking out. And I feel so bad because she's already suffering from that, but then she gets stopped by one of the creatures and the creature like tears out her jugular, like it just like rips her throat out and she goes, "Aah!" It reminds me of that scene in Dawn of the Dead when they pull his, when they start pulling his head, you know, and then it rips at the neck and you can hear his voice go, "Aah!" It just, that's what it reminds me of. But these creatures start hunting the girls. Like the girls get you know they get torn apart, literally, and they split up. And you know, Sarah, played by Shauna McDonald, she's had enough. She turns into Rambo. She literally turns into Rambo. She's down there. She's using this like pickaxe, and she like honestly, these creatures they bite and they snarl and they scratch at you. She literally gets one of those creatures down and bites the creature. She bites him. Then she takes her fingers and she shoves it into their eyes. And the creature's sitting there screaming. Who's deadlier? The creatures or her? Talk about badass. Ripley didn't even do that. She didn't take her thumbs or her fingers and do this to the alien. I mean, it had no eyes from what we can say, but you get my point. She was manhandling these creatures. She was showing them what's up. I'll give props to Juno too. She was fighting, but again, sketchy. Something happens and she doesn't tell anybody about something. Something happens to one of the friends. I don't want to give everything away. But basically, the girls are fighting for their lives. They're trying to get out of the cave. At the same time, they're trying to survive, their battery life. In trying to figure out which way to go because they're lost down there. There's so many tunnels and so many ways to go at the same time running away from these creatures. So, I love the effects, practical effects, very, very good. The music is intense at times, and also it's got a good soundtrack. I love the characters. There's also there's different endings. Now, the North American version had 1 minute cut from the end, where Sarah escapes from the cave and sees Juno in the car, but the film does not cut back to the cave. Now, the American viewers did not like the hopeless, what they call like the hopeless finale, where you know she was actually still underground and she was imagining that she got out of the cave and got away. But then, she wakes up and she sees her daughter sitting right in front of her with a cake, and it kind of, the camera pans back, and all of a sudden all these creatures are coming towards where Sarah is, and she's still under the cave. She's still underground. She's still in the cave. I like that. I actually like, this is the unrated cut. I actually like the ending. I like that ending where she actually didn't make it out. To me that, it's, you're always used to the hero or the main character surviving, getting away, which is another reason why I liked Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning. The main character didn't make it. And I like when films throw a curveball like that. So I didn't mind it. I actually liked it. I thought it was a unique take on it. But the movie, it's very simple in that way. It's basically about survival in many different aspects. The creature, like I said, the being underground, they're hungry, they're thirsty, they're lost. Yeah, it's great. It basically had positive reviews, and the creature design was great. The creatures almost reminded me of like goblins mixed with vampires. It's like they they were bald and they had like these kind of like pointy ears but sharp teeth, and they couldn't see. They just kind of go around like this, kind of like Ray Charles. They go around like this, and they're trying to smell you and hear you, and they can also climb on the rocks. I mean, you're talking about, they look like humans as far as like their hands and feet, but they're like climbing on the rocks and going upside down and stuff. It's like, how are they doing that? They're not Spider-Man. But very cool, man. If you have not seen The Descent, you are, let me tell you, you are missing out. It had a budget of 3.5 million, made 57 million at the box office, so it made some good money. And I'm not going to have anything good to say when it comes to part two. I honestly don't know what they were thinking. God, that's going to be one hell of a video. Anyway, guys, that is my review of The Descent. Just like I said, one of my favorite horror films, and it just, if you don't like claustrophobic, um, sequences or things in movies, tight spaces. That's what she said. If you don't like that stuff, like it's going to bother you. It is going to bother you in this movie because that's what this is. It's like anybody who goes underground, and they call it spelunking, I guess. Anybody who goes underground and starts to explore caves, like in my mind, I'm thinking, why? Like, what are you doing? What's so important down there? What are you going to find? Spiders? I don't know. In this case, creatures. But anyway, it just sounds so stupid to me. Like you would risk your life. I don't know. More power to you. Anyway, fantastic movie. Definitely recommend it if you can, get a chance to check it out. Stay tuned because my next review is going to be on this horrendous piece of shit, The Descent Part 2. So stay tuned for that. Thank you very much for watching this, and I'll see you in the next one.